Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14, a very big day. We have a big man in the house, our comptroller from the state of Maryland, Peter Franchot. Welcome, sir.
Greg, thank you, and thank you for being here on the campus of Salisbury, one of our great assets in the state of Maryland, a wonderful, wonderful university.
Well, you're a great friend to my newspaper, the Salisbury Independent. You're a great friend to PAC 14 and to Salisbury, and we just want to thank you for this, and we understand that you're looking for a new job.
I am. I'm going to give up. I don't have to. I'm not term limited, but a lot of people have urged me over the years to consider running for governor. And I think I have the trust and the confidence of the voters. Not everybody, but I get hundreds of thousands of Republican and independent voters along with my Democratic voters. So yeah, I gave up my seat. Good people are running for my position as comptroller. People come up to me and say, could you possibly be both at the same time? I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
but,
William Donald Schaefer wanted that as
yeah,
well.
he was, yeah. But, I've had a great run as comptroller and 16 straight years of AAA bond rating, and I've handled people's money well. But the key thing is I think they see me as a honest, mature adult who can be a check and balance, not just on Republicans in the legislature, but also Democrats, who can kind of keep the fiscal house in order. So yes, I'm running for governor. I'm ahead. Therefore, everybody says bad things about me. That's okay. It's part of the price of being a politician. But I'm just so fortunate because I can go to people and say, look, you know me. I've made 10,000 visits. You like me, even though I'm the tax collector. And you appreciate the fact that I've done the little things to make life better for you. And I'm committing to people I'm going to do the same thing as governor. And we'll just see. It's a kind of crazy election because it's been delayed. It was supposed to be today.
Right.
Now it's 3 weeks from now.
Right.
But we are ahead and we intend to stay ahead.
Well, Louis Goldstein certainly made the job about being the tax collector. He was always on TV at tax time. But what a lot of people don't know is the comptroller's position in Maryland is really important because you sit on the Board of Public Works and you're right there with the governor making big decisions about where money goes.
Yeah, the governor's all powerful because he decides what's on the agenda. And it's his agencies that are presenting these contracts. But we average $450 million every 2 weeks in state contracts. And honestly, I'm not trying to brag or anything. I think I'm the only one who really asks questions. The governor doesn't, either O'Malley or Hogan, both of whom I served under, because it was their agencies. The treasurer was a dear friend of mine for many years, Nancy Kopp. She asked some questions, but not a lot. And I find that I'm the person that's constantly scrutinizing every contract and saying, is this in the best interest of the state of Maryland? So I think that's where some of the people say, hey, this guy's not just same old, same old.
Well, you've done it with bipartisanship. You and Governor Hogan, who's a Republican, pledged to work together bipartisan ways, and it seems like you've done that.
Well, I kid him a lot because he's very proud of how popular he is and the fact that he's very well regarded. But I say, Larry, from time to time, I got 300,000 more votes than you did last year and last election. So we kid each other. He's been great to work with. I work with him very closely on a lot of things that people don't even know anything about. But he's running for president, or he's considering running for president. So he's leaning to the right, and that's caused, and I'm leaning to the left a little because I'm running for governor here. So we're not as in tandem, so to speak, as we have been for many, many years. I have nothing but respect for him because I think he's tried to do the best. I have some disagreements, but he's a mature, functioning, rational adult, and that's what we need more of in politics.
Right. Now, there were a couple issues that came up. One at the end of the General Assembly in terms of what to do with the surplus. You had a notion for it. The governor had a different notion. Talk about that, what you wanted to do with our big surplus. First, how big was it?
Well, on March 10th, I announced $7.5 billion, and that's a conservative estimate because it's probably going to get better. It's over 3 fiscal years. It's one-time only money. It's not something about the strength of the economy. So I urge that $2 or $3 billion of it be put in the rainy day fund to protect us against what's going on right now.
Right, which we have seen lately and in 2008 that we need that money.
Exactly. And then I said, take $2 billion and spend it on one-time only infrastructure projects. Take $1 billion and give it to the low-wage earners, 33% of our population who work and work and work and have nothing, no wealth. So they're struggling. Send them a $2,000 survival check, I called it. That will help the local economy because it's spent immediately in small businesses.
Right.
And then I said, take $500 million and spend it on the child care sector because that's preventing people from coming back to work, particularly women, because of COVID. And then the after effect is I can't afford child care. And we lost about 1,500 child care companies, for-profit companies out of 8,000. I suggested taking $500 million and just, don't make applications and legal things required. Just go to the chambers in Salisbury and other towns and ask for the names of the small businesses that are struggling that should survive, and go and write them a check. So I said just $500 million to support small businesses. That left $1 billion or so left. But the cold fact is that Maryland's a very wealthy state. We've gotten almost $80 billion from the federal government. I've extended the tax date 3 years in a row from April 15th to July 15th for state taxes. That has produced a huge surge in business revenues that we didn't anticipate. So, it's everything looks good, and the AAA bond rating's good, the pension is sound that I chair the board of, but we have a lot of suffering being caused right now by inflation.
Right.
Gas prices are up 50%.
But your idea didn't advance the way we had all hoped, or that you'd hoped.
It kind of went that way. They put $2 billion into the rainy day fund and said, Mr. Comptroller, you should be proud of yourself. That's okay. They did part of it, but a lot of it has been, they go in the back room and they discuss what the Republicans want, and also the Democratic leaders are there, and they're discussing what goes back and forth. And I often imagine the conversation being the Republicans saying, we only want to spend $5 billion on this, and the Democrats saying, no, we want to spend $10 billion. And the compromise is, at the end of the day, come out of the room and say, we're going to spend $15 billion.
Right.
I mean, that's where it's all gone. It's like there's
Right.
so much money, and there's so little oversight of that. And I'm not blaming anybody. It's partly attributable to COVID
Right.
and national politics. But it has created a situation where someone like me is really needed next year, because I've already done the 2008, 2009 economic crisis, and the COVID stuff I've dealt with a lot. And we need someone like me who is going to be a check and balance on this out of control spending. The operating budget for this year that was just voted on is $63 billion. That's $19 billion more than normal. And it's all this excess money. So it's going to be a bit of a volatile situation, because the one-time money runs out. Everybody's going to come and say, look, we were doing great with what you gave us, give us some more.
Right. But as a reporter who watches this stuff, I was intrigued by your plan, because it gave me kind of a precursor to how you might act as governor, how you might think these things through, and where you wanted to allot the money and what your priorities were. So it was very telling to me.
Well, and it wasn't really done in the legislature. It was done on this ad hoc thing. What do I need to do to get your vote? Or at least please stop saying bad things about me.
Right.
So it was unfortunate, I think, but the key thing is next year we're going to have a train wreck, particularly if inflation continues as it is, because I know it's hard to believe for the public, but 10 years ago the legislature, over my vehement objection, coupled the gas tax, a regressive tax, to the rate of inflation.
Right.
Nobody noticed it because inflation was insignificant.
Right.
Well, 14 days from now, automatic increase in the gas tax of 18%. That is going to happen.
By law.
I describe it, I describe it as the Frankenstein bill. It will never go down, it will always go up. And it's all on automatic pilot. It's like one of these automobiles that drives without a person. All of a sudden, the public has got to feel, if they knew about it, and a lot of people don't, have got to feel like they're just being treated like an ATM machine.
Right.
Because there's no transportation projects or infrastructure that justifies this. It's simply, oh, we passed a law 10 years ago.
Right.
So that you wouldn't come and bother us by asking for a tax increase every year. So I'm raising the flag about that. I don't have the power to overturn it. Governor Hogan doesn't either. I don't want to pick a fight with the legislature, but somebody's got to do something. There are people pushing their cars on the shoulder of interstates because they've run out of gas.
Right.
Gas is at $5 a gallon. Next week it could be at $6. Next month it could be at $7 a gallon. And the response from the state is, sorry, we can't do anything about it. Oh, except this midnight thief in the night type
Right.
operation there.
Right.
You know, all of a sudden it goes up and you lose. It's not an overall amount. I think the overall increase is 7 cents, but it's 18%. And I'm committing to people that were I there as governor, I would work out an arrangement with the legislature where I would show them that we can actually provide relief. It's cruel during a period of inflation to add more.
Right.
What you want to do is stop the decoupling, decouple it, number one, and number two, lower it to 30 cents rather than 43 cents.
Well, we had the gas tax holiday there for a while, which was great, and you were the initiator on that. But then the legislature at the last minute decided not to keep it in place.
Yeah, exactly. And they should have, because it's actually good for business. We had tens of thousands of people from other states come into Maryland to buy cheap gas.
Right.
And, you know, we had the money to pay the trust fund of $100 million, I think it was. And we need to do that. We can't just cut the tax and not have anybody pay for it. But these tens of thousands of out-of-state people bought taxable items when they were in Maryland. So it offset some of that 100 million. The key here, though, is to give relief. And it is cruel to say to these hardworking, low-wage earners on the bottom of our economy, you guys are just, you know, you're just not going to get any help from us. In fact, we're going to increase your problem.
Right.
So I think we're going to try to plan a big statewide rally and try to generate some public interest in this, because I know people are, you know, they have a visceral reaction to the gas price because they see and as I said, inflation is just hammering them. We
Right.
want to give people who work hard a chance to develop a little bit of wealth, and this inflationary period is very troubling to me.
Getting elected statewide is really important, but being governor is different than the other jobs. So we saw Steve Sachs, who rolled up lots of votes as Attorney General, not be able to advance as governor. Louis Goldstein wanted to be governor for a long time, wasn't able to do that. People want to have a personal connection with their governor, and I don't know that people know you as well as they need to know. So tell me more about who is Peter Franchot?
Well, I grew up in New England. I got an excellent education, but I was very opposed to the war in Vietnam in 1968. So and guess what? That was a Democratic war.
Right.
Remember Lyndon Johnson?
Right.
I didn't really think that through. I just said, I don't like the war in Vietnam. It's a rich man's war fought by poor people. So I left college and went and worked for 8 months on the campaign, on G. McCarthy's campaign. But I gave up my student deferment. So I got drafted into the United States Army.
That must have been a fun day.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. This was a game changer for me because I decided, despite my opposition to the war, I'm going to do my duty. And I did. I went down to Fort Jackson for basic training. I ended up at Fort Hood, not Vietnam. But my drill sergeant was somebody I had to listen to.
Right.
And he was very helpful in making me think seriously about what I was going to do in the future. So I got out of there, out of the Army, went back to college, went and worked for public interest groups, environmental groups and other things, not-for-profits, doing advocacy, often arguing with Democrats in the legislature in the states that I was in, just as well as the Republicans. Then I came down to Washington. That's how I came to Maryland with the Union of Concerned Scientists, a group that was concerned about nuclear power. Long story, just to say, my whole background is not coming out of the Democratic clubs. I'm a Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat. I value the principles and values of the party. but I'm not somebody who is, do this, do that.
Right.
I'm like an independent thinking Democrat, and that's kind of why I'm presenting myself to people. There's been a little friction sometimes between me and Mike Miller, who's now passed away, and even Mike Bush and the new leadership.
Yeah, they were our Senate president and our Speaker of the House.
Yeah,
and,
they're
and that
powerful
was
people.
Old school Democratic politics, neighborhood politics.
But the reason I am appealing to, that's why, but so many people know me because of that, and they like that. They want a check and balance on things that are perhaps not good, such as slot machines that I objected to,
Right.
despite the leadership saying you've got to shut up.
Right.
Just like the beer sector, the craft beer sector, where I oppose the very powerful corporate beer companies around the country, Budweiser
Yeah,
and everything.
our local beer guys would like to build a statue to you. I hope
Yes,
you know that.
the craft beer sector, they name beers after me.
Yeah.
The key thing here is that both parties need a check and balance. And I really believe I'm equipped because I'm, as you say, I've run 4 times statewide. So I've got but different from some of the previous people that may have run, like General Sachs. I have this trust and confidence with people because I'm interacting with them all the time, handling their money. And they say, the guy is a straight shooter. And by the way, he stands up to the Democrats just like the Republicans. And he's going to do a good job for us. So I am very positively encouraged and honored to have, and humbled really, that people tug at my sleeve and say nice things about me.
Right.
Not that I'm not nice.
Well, you've been very loyal to Salisbury. I don't think you ever come through and not stop and say hi to us, which is just so great that you do that. And you listen to our issues and get back to us on what we're concerned about. And you seem to have a fondness for our mayor, Jake
Yes,
Day.
Jake has endorsed me. I consider him to be a candidate for governor down the road because he's a fabulous military person.
Yeah.
And he sent me one of the U.S. flags that he carried in a special mission over in Africa, and I just have nothing but admiration and respect. He's the outgoing president of the Maryland Municipal League that I just left in Ocean City a few minutes ago, and just incredibly impressive. And he specifically, at the MML debate that we had, such as it is, I guess, he specifically made a comment about the was it the sheriff, the deputy first class sheriff,
Yes.
who sadly lost his life.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who's
Glenn Hilliard, who was killed on
Hilliard,
Sunday.
Yeah, and in Wycomico County, and he made a very. I said to him, "Could you please make a statement for all of the candidates,
Right?
So we didn't have to go, through something that." Was just unpredictable. He gave a very beautiful statement about Glenn Hilliard and his wife and 3 children, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help them as they grieve and as they move forward into the future. And I think everybody was very sympathetic to Jake's message, which is we can't tolerate this.
Yeah. You were here when Aaron Bull Hudson died, one of our local police officers, and you gave a little speech at a ceremony for him, and his family was there. And it was just so great that you would come in and do that and just make us all feel better.
From my Army experience, I'm a big supporter of law enforcement because properly trained, they protect us, and no public safety, no economy. We need them, and we need to respect them. Now, we can't tolerate any misconduct, just like you can't in the Army. It's got to be yes, sir, no, sir. Good behavior. But zero tolerance for crime, and the type of crime that took Hilliard is just completely unacceptable. And I plan to be very strong on the public safety issue as governor because everybody needs to know that there's no ambiguity. It's zero tolerance for police misconduct, but zero tolerance for crime.
Yeah, it's a fine line to walk because we're all kind of divided on this issue, and I think contorted on it as well because you want to support the police, but you don't want to support everything that they do. But you're not in their shoes, so you don't really know what you would do in those situations. It's really complicated.
The beauty of this is that people trust me to do something that makes sense. What they don't like is just the partisan bickering back and forth. And I sympathize with that. And I see myself as someone who's going to do the right thing, whether it benefits the Democrats or benefits the Republicans, but does it benefit Maryland? And it's, I feel that as something that people identify with me.
How does the Eastern Shore fit into the big equation that is Maryland?
Well, I've visited the shore so often that people say, "You again?" But, you know, COVID kind of interrupted with that. But
I mean, are we important in Annapolis, or are we not important?
Well, everybody in Western Maryland and Eastern Shore feels somewhat left behind by Annapolis. They're not by me as governor, because I've gone out to Western Maryland time and time again, met with the coal industry, met with all the local officials, met with the faith-based institutions, gone to the K through 12 schools, met with leading citizens. I've done the same thing on the shore over and over again. And I think what people are going to do is say, look, all these people running, I don't know any of them, but that guy, remember that famous cartoon?
Right.
So, yeah. So maybe you could show that someday. But I'm proud of the fact that I get so much support from that Democrats normally don't get in areas of the state that are not the population, have the population density of the Washington area, the Baltimore area.
I just remember you 15, 16, 20 years ago, whatever it was, when you were in the House of Delegates at war with Robert Ehrlich for some stuff that he was up to. And here you are today, Peter, you know, poised to become governor.
Well, I think it would be a blessing for me, and something that I find very almost scary, because it's a big job. But because I've served under so many governors and I have this vision, I think people are going to see me as something special. And
we're gonna listen to him take his call.
Sorry about that. That's my lieutenant governor pick, who, by the way, is a spectacular person. Yeah.
But you didn't take his call.
No, her call.
Her call.
Yeah.
You didn't take her call.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that right now. Yeah, but anyway.
It was a dumb question anyway, Tom.
Let's get rid of that dumb question.
Yeah, it was a dumb question.
Okay.
What should I? There's only time for one question, so what do you want me to ask?
Two, actually.
Two, okay.
No,
Well, if he
just
gives a
go
long
ahead.
answer,
Go
it's just
ahead.
one.
No, I'll be short. Whatever you wanted to
I
ask.
can't
What
ask
was
why
it?
he wants to be governor.
Who's going to pick for Comptroller?
No, what is it you want to do as governor?
You want to do that? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whatever you're ready.
Not why, but what is it?
Yeah.
What is the benefit to the public?
So give me a task list. What do you want to do if you are elected?
First day, we're going to announce in 3 months we're going to fix every pothole on state roads in Maryland. We're going to pick up all the trash along state roads in Maryland. And we're going to have every state agency do what my agency does, answer the phone within 60 seconds with someone that can help frustrated citizens navigate. I want to respect the residents. I want to respond to the residents. I want to get results for the residents. Once we do that, and it can't be perfect, Greg, but it can be a good faith effort, the public will say, hey, we kind of trust this guy. We're critical of government competence, but you know, this guy sounds pretty good. Then we're going to create 100,000 jobs. We need that for our state because the economy is, you know, struggling right now at the lower branches. I'm also going to recruit 100,000 new young adults in their 20s and 30s from other states, and also keep those that are here in the state by saying, if you live, work, and pay taxes for 5 years, I'll forgive your student loan. And we're vetting that financially, because I'm tight with the dollar. I'm not doing anything that is unaffordable. Healthcare, we're going to put these clinics, community clinics and federally qualified healthcare clinics, then everybody in the rural areas, a 15-minute drive, in the urban areas within a 15-minute walk. K through 12 education, I have to do what the legislature is ordering me to do as governor, to allocate X amount of money for schools, K through 12. But we're going to add in reforms like reducing standardized tests for the teachers and liberating them from those tests largely, and motivating the kids by giving them project-based learning and teach them about the modern economy. And then finally, we're going to create 300,000 new homeowners in the state. These are generally people that have income, but they use most of the income just to pay their bills and pay food and take care of their expenses. They never have money to pay for a high-risk mortgage, which is what they would be at that pay level. So we're going to have the state not spend any money, but simply come in as a guarantor of 300,000 folks that work hard, have money, don't have any wealth, are not, and are renting. We're going to create an opportunity for them to join the middle class by owning a house. And the purpose there is, at the end of the day, I want every Marylander to be able to say, you know, I've got something to pass on to my kids, some small equity or a house. So those are big ideas. They're not costly ideas. They're just big ideas for people to get accustomed to. You got to do the little things to connect to the big things. And I'm very excited that I'm going to have the relationship with the residents of the state where they will say, okay, we're fine with that because we understand what you're doing. I'm also going to do the gas tax holiday and lower the gas tax because that will really get me firmly liked by everybody. But you get my drift. It's I'm not here to mandate. I'm not here to divide. I'm here to unify around the issue of competence and economic prosperity for all.
Well, Peter Franchot, we wish you luck these next few weeks and on into the election season if you advance to November. So good luck out there, and please come back and see us.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's Peter Franchot. He's our comptroller for the state of Maryland, and the best thing he's done for me is we get our tax refunds like within days now. It's unbelievable.
2.5 business days.
It's unbelievable. So thank you for that. And we're thrilled that he had time to be with us here today on PAC 14. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.